ever since the Cleveland Browns relocated in the mid 90s and relocated to a team called the Baltimore Ravens, there has always been this internal motto that says play like a Raven. And some of the early guys who were early staples of those really, really, really damn good Ravens teams that always put up a fight, hard nosed, smash mouth football, it representing the tough city they play for. I have heard personally, so this is not my observation. I have legitimately heard this from someone who lives in Baltimore. He says that the Ravens are the perfect team for the city of Baltimore, a ghetto team that does not take shit from anyone and will literally stand up to anyone on any given Sunday. Now, I'm not calling the players on their team ghetto. That's just what I've heard from a person who lives there. And he says the only time that Baltimore is ever peaceful is when the Ravens are playing. So that should show you a lot about the team and the identity and what they mean to the city of Baltimore as a whole. And with that play like a Raven motto, you'd think that guys like Lewis, both Jamal and Ray, Ogden, Reed, and Suggs would help try and carry over that old school identity to this new era of Ravens football. Ever since they got rid of Joe Flacco and they brought in Lamar Jackson, they have completely transformed the identity of their team. And when these Hall of Famers and these legends are getting towards the end of their career, they make more of an impact in the locker room than they do on the field. So with that being said about their culture, their identity, and playing like a Raven, Marlon Humphrey, after last year's playoff game against Tennessee, said that it was in the team's identity ever since all those elite guys left, pun intended, to choke. Now, if you guys remember the 2018 playoffs against the Chargers, I genuinely do not understand what the Chargers did on defense that game. It was so crazy that it ended up working, and Lamar Jackson was stuffed, couldn't do anything all day, looked like garbage. And if you remember back to that game, there were a lot of people saying that Flacco should have gone in at half, which I'm not going to lie, I was one of those people. But Harbaugh, as of right now, November 23rd, 2020, is an uncontested top 5 coach in the NFL. Literally no argument. And he wasn't just going to let people shit all over his quarterback because there were so many memes, so much shit talk in the media about how Lamar Jackson can't throw. He's a running back. So they built an entire offense around him because I don't put it past Harbaugh to do that. He's literally one of the best football coaches in the world. They entered week 1 last year with 1 goal and 1 goal only. They were playing the Miami Dolphins, who recently traded Laramie Tunsil to the Texans for 2 first-round picks. The Dolphins were repleted, and everybody knew that they were starting a rebuild. After being insanely raw at Louisville and not being a very, very good passer his rookie year, he just lights the Dolphins the fuck up week 1. And he lit everybody up last year in one of the most phenomenal years we have ever seen from a quarterback. Lamar Jackson in 2019 was an absolute cheat code. That Ravens team was just so stacked. They were my pick to win the Super Bowl just because I didn't see how anybody could stop them. Amazing defense, amazing quarterback, great rushing attack. Their passing game was, it was mediocre at best, but when Lamar's your quarterback and literally you have a battering ram, Mark Ingram, and you have a guy who can get it done, albeit not amazing, in Gus Edwards, your team is pretty damn good. So, first round of the playoffs, the team is 14-2. Now, I should have mentioned the 2 teams that beat them were the Kansas City Chiefs in week 3, and they got punched in the mouth by Cleveland week 4. And keep that Cleveland game up here because we're going to talk about that a little later. So, divisional playoffs, they are playing against the Tennessee Titans, who are the hottest team in football. Derrick Henry is bulldozing literally everything in his path. And so what do the Ravens do after to follow up their amazing regular season? They get first rounded. They lose 28-12 to the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry runs all over them after Earl Thomas was talking shit all week. The O-line can't block. They set up a perfect game plan to shut down Lamar Jackson and the running game as a whole. Lamar's incredible MVP year was just completely wasted due to the nature of the divisional round performance. And Marlon Humphrey, who was one of the new leaders of this team, said that it was in their identity to choke. Yesterday, or today technically, it's yesterday as in like new day as far as count. I'm recording this at 3:26 a.m., so I guess it's still today for me if you count that. But yesterday, after the Ravens lost, Lamar Jackson said it looked like Tennessee just wanted it more. Now, this definitely hurts when you consider the fact that the Ravens made a bunch of moves in this offseason, and this was supposed to be their revenge game. They literally signed a bunch of dudes to stop Derrick Henry. Campbell, who was out this game, so I can't blame him. Queen, eventually Yannick. These were all guys that they signed and brought in to stop Derrick Henry, and they failed. 28 carries, 133 yards, and a touchdown to end the game. I understand that they are decimated with injuries, especially on the offensive line, but the biggest thing holding this Ravens team back right now from being up there with the Chiefs, or even that team in their division who hasn't lost a game yet in the Steelers, or what if I told you that the Ravens now have the third best record in the AFC North? Yeah, that team in Cleveland who's riding two running backs, who keep in mind you absolutely destroyed week one, has gone 7-2 since that game and is running over literally everybody in their path. Is that Browns team as stacked on paper as this Ravens team from top to bottom? Absolutely not. The one thing that's holding the Ravens back from being in the top tier of the AFC, along with all the other teams that have a similar record as they do, is it's all mental. Making stupid mistakes with, penalties and bad snaps, dropped passes, and just basically overthrown or underthrown passes from Lamar, not even tackling the other dudes properly. Those things are all fixable. I understand some of these guys are freaks in nature. They are the best athletes in the world with the best technical refinement, but sports is mainly mental. If you're a dangerous team, if you think you're a dangerous team, you can be a dangerous team, and you are likely to do dangerous things to other teams in your league. If you believe you suck, that's how you become the 2008 Lions. That's how you become the 2017 Browns. And this Ravens team just is not showing the mental toughness that Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Terrell Suggs all showed. Hell, even last year, people in Baltimore couldn't shut the fuck up about Big Truss or even Mark Ingram hyping dudes up on the sidelines. Where has any of that been this year? Just because you lost your job to an uber talented rookie doesn't mean that you have to stop being a good teammate. And I'm not trying to shit on Mark Ingram, but let's talk about that uber talented rookie. J.K. Dobbins in the first half averaged 9 carries, 53 yards, 1 touchdown, so that's good for 5.9 yards per carry. J.K. Dobbins in the second half, which keep in mind they were leading 21-10 in the third quarter, got 4 carries that went for 11 yards. Teams have adjusted, so last year I believe the Ravens were the first or second most run-heavy team in the NFL. It was either first or second after the 49ers. And now, after they realized that they were just getting run on and the Ravens just kept running it down their throat, teams were just like, hold on, maybe we should stack the box. Because teams absolutely respect Lamar Jackson's running ability, but they do not respect him as a passer. And that is indicated by the fact that J.K. Dobbins sees an average of 7 guys in the box. And the reason why their running game just isn't as effective as last year is because they literally have no viable passing options other than, I think, Mark Andrews and Willie Snead, and also Des Bryant. He played like a Raven today, and I know they love to preach that, and I think Des is overrated. I personally would have signed him. He doesn't have it anymore. I wouldn't have signed him for anything other than culture, but at least he's playing hard out there. Hollywood Brown is terrible. So I'm not sure if you guys remember, but after that game against Pittsburgh, he tweeted out something like saying, "Oh, they don't want to use a soldier," and he's been absolutely terrible since then. I think we all knew, and it wasn't a secret, that Hollywood Brown trained with his cousin. I didn't think we'd all know that, his cousin's personality would rub off on him. Hell, and even Antonio's kept it down since getting signed by Tampa on Twitter. And also, I don't care if Marcus Peters gets 80 interceptions next year, because what I'm about to say is still true, no matter how many picks he gets. Marcus Peters is not a good football player. He's a good ball hawk, but he needs elite safety play to play his best game, recognizing when the quarterback has a hot read or is going to throw towards his receiver. I have been saying this since he was in Kansas City, and I know a lot about Kansas City since I absolutely hate them. And I absolutely hated Marcus Peters back then, and I hate Marcus Peters as a player now. But at least he's a good leader. And shouldn't it be up to those dudes on the defensive side of the ball to, hype the guys up a little bit? Tackling is an attitude, and I saw literally zero differences from this Ravens defense today and this Ravens defense in January when they played the Titans. With all those arms around A.J. Brown, you cannot let him score that touchdown. A.J. Brown is a demon. A.J. Brown's amazing. A.J. Brown is a great wide receiver. Hell, if I was starting an NFL franchise today, I would not take anyone, maybe other than DK Metcalf, over A.J. Brown. But you cannot let him score that touchdown right there. Sports are mental, tackling is an attitude, and it doesn't get any easier for them because this week on Thanksgiving night, they have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have, I don't know if you've heard of him, but there's a pretty good guy on the other team. His name is Chase Claypool. He's not the easiest guy to bring down either. They also have this guy named Deontay Johnson, who last year, with Roethlisberger out, ranked first in target separation. You play like you did today against the Steelers, you are going to get punched in the mouth and embarrassed by your biggest rival on Thursday Night Football on Thanksgiving in front of the entire country in the Steelers Stadium. And worst of all, I didn't even hear about this until now, but John Harbaugh and Malcolm Butler went nose to nose after the Titans came on the field and started gathering all the Ravens logo, during all the pregame warm-ups. And then Harbaugh and Mike Vrabel were having an animated conversation, and apparently the two didn't shake hands after the game. So you let this team that embarrassed you in January come into your stadium, run the ball down your throat, blow a double-digit lead against them, and you let them stand on your field. Disrespects your own stadium, your own logo, talk shit to your coach, and then you're going to let them punch you in the mouth like that? You think that Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs would let that happen? I still believe in Lamar. I absolutely believe in J.K. Dobbins. I don't know how you can after seeing the game today. I still believe in Mark Andrews, and if Lamar hits Mark Andrews wide, wide, wide open in the end zone on 3rd and 6, they probably win this game, and we could be having a very, very, very different conversation right now. I don't believe in Greg Roman. What he did last year was incredible. He's just been too predictable this year. I still believe in John Harbaugh, and I still believe that this team can be a great team. Because we've seen them be a great team. I don't understand what's so different between this year and last. And Lamar Jackson, your quarterback, your current heart and soul, the guy who got all the media attention last year, saying that Tennessee looked like they wanted it more. Yes, if you think about it that way, Tennessee absolutely wanted it more, and it's not even a question. So far this year, they've lost to the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Titans, and Patriots. Your biggest rival and your other three biggest rivals who are not in your division. I remember it wasn't that long ago where if you got Sunday Night Football in Baltimore, you were basically fucked. But this Lamar Jackson Ravens team has not shown up in big games whatsoever. But if we look at their remaining schedule, they are not beating Pittsburgh if they're going to come out and play like this Thursday night. They are not going to beat Cleveland week 15 if they can't figure out how to stop the rushing game of the Tennessee, because the number one rushing attack in the league right now belongs to Cleveland. I know that Baltimore destroyed them week 1, but I think it'll be the exact opposite if Baltimore keeps playing like this. Because as of right now, the only thing they are doing is proving Marlon Humphrey, when he said last year at the end of the really, really bad playoff loss to Tennessee, that it was in the team's identity to choke and to lose big games. They're doing absolutely nothing but proving him right. Alright guys, that is going to do it for the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and yeah, just let me know your thoughts on the Ravens. Do you think they can turn it around? Do you think they're just forever screwed? Do you think they should fire Harbaugh, hire Adam Gase instead? Whatever. But yeah, that's going to do it for the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not already, follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description down below. Anyways, have a good day, and peace out.